Broadcasting from New Braunfels, Texas, home of the historic Green Hall and the best river tubing in America. You're listening to PX1 Sports Radio, where we cover the hottest topics in the sports gaming world and the world of sports entertainment. Here's your host, Mike Peters.
It is almost 2017. Christmas is over. Hope everyone got everything under the tree that you were hoping for. Now we look to head into 2017, which I think is going to be a great year for the world of sports gaming. Can't wait to see what all the developers bring us this year. Today, we are going to finish up part 2 of our interview with Smitty from Sin Standard Radio as we talk about Madden's franchise mode now and in the future and the possibility of a single-player story mode coming to Madden. I want to switch gears away from gameplay a little bit. I know you're really big into franchise mode. You guys have your league. I mean, that's kind of where we all came from and met up and started sharing ideas with. Where is franchise mode for you right now, and where does it need to go?
To me, it's still more of, it's in a basic state right now. Basic functions. I like the big decisions. It's cool, but the novelty of it wears off pretty quick.
I agree with that.
The whole XP thing, even with that, it kind of wears thin. It's not a bad idea. Don't get me wrong. It's not bad, but I'd rather it be more of, if they perform better, then okay, they get those boosts according to those skills.
I was actually thinking about
No.
I was actually thinking about that the other night, and I wrote down a whole page of all these ideas, and because the XP thing to me isn't realistic. I mean, it's not how a real player develops. Now, for example, take Ezekiel Elliott, right? Ezekiel Elliott comes into the game at like a 78 to like 82 overall, depending on where they're drafted in the first round. And then you have to build him up through practice and all of this stuff to get him to where he is now, which probably next year he's going to be like an 88 to 92, I'm guessing, on Madden next year, if not higher. So you have to, and that's going to take at least a year, maybe 2, depending upon how you allocate your XP. What I would like to see is something that is more like skills like elusiveness, juke moves, spin moves, stuff like that. Those guys don't really improve it that much once they get into the NFL, right? Like if you're Reggie Bush or you're Lamar Jackson or you're, one of these guys that have these 6 skills and you're making people miss, like you already have that in college and you're going to carry that into the NFL. The thing that you improve in the NFL is your awareness, your ball carrier vision, your pass blocking and run blocking, just your overall knowledge, your play, learning the playbook and stuff like that. Like I would like it to be where the skill positions come in with a better skill set. Like maybe your first round draft pick comes in at, if it's like somebody like Ezekiel Elliott, a big star running back, instead of topping him out at like 82, 84, like I want him to come in at like 86 with all of their speed, awareness, agility, spin move, juke move, all that stuff already like pretty much maxed out. You might adjust it a little bit, but you're not really going to adjust that stuff because that stuff's really not going to improve that much. But then you have to focus on, their carry, their cover up ability, maybe even their stamina if you work on that with a coach and stuff like that. So I think that's one thing that switches. I think the most realistic way is you kind of bring them in like that, and then you have maybe a tiered system where every week, depending on whether they ran with the first team in practice, what kind of coaches you have, how many plays, what percentage of your team's plays they got during the game, and then if they hit a goal, and something more realistic than throwing for 400 yards, but maybe they run for 80 yards. You hit all of those goals, then you get a boost across certain levels. Like maybe you go up like 1 or 2 awareness and like 1 ball carrier vision and like 1 carry or something like that for that week. Or maybe it's every 4 weeks it goes up. Kind of like, honestly, kind of like what it used to be like back on the PS2 days. It kind of would be this natural progression. The more you work the player and the better they improved, you would slowly get generic attributes. And if it based on, like, if we added coordinators or something like that. But the counter to that is A, I think that would be a drastic overhaul of what they're already doing, and B, even though I don't find it the most realistic and I don't think it really represents NFL football, it is kind of cool. Me and one of my buddies that's in the league were talking about it yesterday about what our plans were for the 3 guys we were going to focus on this coming year and how we were going to build up certain parts of our team. And so, I mean, it kind of makes it fun to kind of plan and strategize that because you can focus on certain guys. It's kind of back and forth. Like, I can live with this system if it's going to be a huge system and it's going to keep other things from being put in. I can live with this system, but I do agree with you to some degree. It does get a little repetitive and monotonous, even though we have like 60 some different game prep things that we can choose of. I think most of us stick to 2 or 3, and we just use those all season. And after we get gold, we don't go replay them, so it doesn't really make it more fresh. It still becomes kind of repetitive. They gotta find a balance. I think they gotta find a balance from where it is, and then something that's a little bit more engaging. Now, along with that, outside of like XP and improving guys, what do you want to see as far as the overall engagement? What kind of things can they add in the franchise mode to keep that engagement so leagues like ours don't have to constantly come up with content and editing draft players and all this stuff to keep guys engaged? What can they do from a franchise perspective just to naturally and organically make guys want to log in the franchise mode every day?
First, one thing though to go off of the going back to real quickly to the franchise, getting players prepped. Go to PS2 days, but go to NCAA 07. All those different skill drills you had. That would be perfect to improve your player. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have a QB throwing power drill. You have your 40 times. You have your route running drills. Your defensive coverage drills. I mean, you have a lot of drills that you can, and you, the user, take control of the players doing the drills.
Mm-hmm.
This is where having the respective player movement and everything being on point comes into play. And getting rid of the 2-man animated, the 2-man sequences. Because putting that in adds a whole nother level of depth to the game. And also at the same time, you see what kind of point boost it gives you. Right? Now, you can set it for that game or you can set it for that week. Like, for example, let's say if you do, okay, I'm going to do this drill. I'm going to put it on all Madden, right? I'm going to try and get, 3 or 4 point attribute boost. Okay. Now, you go and you play the drill, but you end up you either do average or you do poor. Now, you do poor on the drill, nothing happens, but you can't do the drill again.
Right.
But if you do average or good, you may get 1 or 2 points, or you may get all 4 points. Now, it's only going to be for that game, though. So let's say you're in the game with that player and you have that 4-point boost, but you don't do anything. Then his overall isn't necessarily going to jump up. You see what I'm saying? Because you prepped him for that game, but he didn't do anything with that prep. So it's like for that game, he'll have that 4-point attribute boost or whatever, but then it normalizes going forward.
Well, how do they improve overall? Like, how do they improve throughout the season?
Well, improve throughout the season. Well, you work on drills for that game, and they improve based upon their output. Because think about it. That's like teaching me a slew of running back moves, but I never use any of them in game. How do you know I improved if I never utilize any of those moves?
You're basically saying, like, so basically you have a throw power or an accuracy drill or whatever, and let's say you get gold and you get 4 points. But if you go into that game and you have a poor game, then it's not going to register. But if you go into that game and you have a really good game, statistically, maybe there's a goal or something, then because you did that drill, you're going to get that 4 points applied after that game, and now all of a sudden, he took the next step up in his development. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like he did this good. So like you get you did the drill, you get your 4 points, right? Let's say you just do great on it, you get your 4 points. Going into that game, you had that attribute boost. Now, let's say if I'm a quarterback And if I'm out here, even though I have that performance boost, I throw picks and stuff after that game, depending upon, yardage wise, like, did I get any touchdowns? Did you do good after getting that training? Because if you didn't do good, then why would your talent level go up?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So there you should only have that improvement for the week. It's not gonna like the improvement only is gonna stick based off of how good you do.
Right. And,
So
and that's
yeah,
one of
but
the
go
thing
ahead.
with the XP now is you could have like your third string running back and put him as one of your three guys and like boost him from like a 72 to an 88 overall, and he never takes a snap on the field.
See, and
And
that's what I'm saying.
right, yeah,
Exactly.
no, yeah, I agree
Take
there.
that out the picture. So it's like basically you gotta use your talent, but you gotta use them in a effective manner. And if you're not, then he's just gonna waste away. And that's why I the other aspect I was gonna get to outside of the skill drills is making it more like what you had in NFL head coach. If now head coach was a very very in-depth game, tons of depth in there, but if you don't practice with your quarterback, he's only going to have so many plays to call from because he doesn't know the playbook.
Yeah, I would like
They
that too.
had those kind of impacts.
Yeah.
You don't have that kind of impact. You could plug anybody in there and do whatever you want. You had, excuse me, offensive linemen could get hurt. They had wear and tear, and you had to make decisions based off of wear and tear. Like, okay, do I want to keep this guy in? Do I want to take him out and let him rest for a little bit? Let him rest for a few snaps or maybe a few series, based off of like how much wear he has on his body. You had that kind of in-depth stuff in that game.
Right.
That's the kind of stuff that we need in Madden to build it out more, make it more robust. But then now the easy thing and one other thing that makes it easier is team builder for draft classes. Makes it a whole lot easier. You could go online, you could set the draft class, whatever.
Basically have like a
plug that
community
in.
thing where people edit draft classes, then you can download your draft class.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You can
definitely for
download
sure
the
need
draft
that.
class.
I would-
Yeah, like that would be way easier.
I would much rather do that than go in and edit after we draft like we've been doing, man. That's such a pain. But yes, custom or
Yeah.
downloadable draft classes that would be amazing. I think we definitely need that. What about like outside of just like your development of your team and practice mode stuff like that? I always think back to like Madden. I think it was 05 and 06 where they had like the Tony Bruno show.
Oh,
And it was basic, I mean, some of the interviews and stuff got repetitive after a while, but I always caught myself like going through and like looking through my roster and stuff, just listening to the show to see if one of my players was going to get mentioned or if my coach or one of my players was going to get interviewed that week, like something like that. To me, something like that's really engaged me while I'm going through the menus and doing stuff. Like just something to tell me more about my franchise so I don't have to go to like daddy leagues or we don't have to talk about it. Like I want the game to give me info on my team, talk about the big players and maybe give me a highlight show or something like that. What do you think along those lines?
it wouldn't be bad to have that stuff back because that goes in line like I liked how they had the newspapers in the game.
I did
Like
too.
they
I did
had
too.
they had some of the official like papers for those states
Hmm.
would actually be in the game, and especially when it came to free agency, you had all that stuff, headlines and stuff like that, and even then, that that is more immersion. And I mean, once again, that would be something that if they do it along the lines of what like how they handled the commentary this year, I think that would be something that people would warm up to. Just now, from an online league perspective, I'm pretty sure well, even from offline, that would be pretty hard because you're not going directly in line with the NFL, but at least having some lines, like having some general stories and things like that, like talking about the draft, basically, what NFL 2K5 did.
I didn't play that one.
That's
What did I
oh,
know they
you
have
didn't?
like the
Okay.
Sports Center
they had the Sports Center thing, like you had it every week. You had your weekly recap,
Right.
and you even had it when it came to the draft. You know, you
Uh,
had the recap like when it came up to because I mean you didn't have downloadable draft classes. They just had the draft classes in the game that it came with. But you could like you had the Sports Center segments with Mel Kiper talking about the draft picks and talking about those players as it approached time for the draft. So you was like, oh, this guy out of this school, he's projected to be this, and he's got this going for him, and da da da. Like they spotlighted some of those key guys to look out for in the draft. So it's like while you're getting your scout on and everything else, you got those updates. Like they didn't really talk about it until it got to the playoffs, but it was cool though because it made sense.
right.
You know, like they talk about it at the right time, and it's part of the presentation on the front end. So I like that in that game, but what Madden needs to do is something like that as well, where it's like they talk about, a bit more depth in terms of rookie scouting and players where they may want to go. And even having players do holdouts and stuff like that. Front loaded and back end loaded contracts and stuff like that. Excuse me. Players like you said, Madden 05 and 06, you had it where players had a full attribute chart in terms of what they wanted to do in terms of where they wanted to go.
Yeah, we need that back.
And we need that stuff back in the game because
Free agency's way too boring right now.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like there are some people that just off of their pure interest alone, you may not even have a running for. It's just at this point, it's just basically who can bid the most.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Way too simplistic.
Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff you need depth to. Like add that depth on.
Talking about the newspaper articles and stuff like that, I don't. It seems really small, and I don't think that's something that would be that hard to put in there. Even like magazine covers and stuff like that. Little stuff like that adds a ton to your experience because as you're playing, even look at like Daddy Leagues, like the 2 players of the week were. Just little stuff like that. Little stuff like that is not that difficult, I don't think. I mean, I could be wrong. But little stuff, putting magazine articles, newspaper headlines, and stuff like that. They tried to do it with like the Twitter, but now the Twitter's so underutilized, it's kind of put off to the side. Like it doesn't really do a whole lot. If you had like back NCAA where you had like the ESPN covers and the different headlines and stuff like that just gives you something extra to log in and look at your team and kind of go exploring to see what's being talked about. And anything along that lines to get me more engaged and to make me feel more a part of my league and my team is I think is a win. The last topic I wanted to get your input on. You play FIFA very much?
Yeah, not a ton, but I play it.
But so you know about the journey and the solo player mode?
Yeah.
Okay. Most of us think that's coming for Madden. Maybe as soon as 18. I guess we'll find out. How do you think that will go over with Madden, and what do they need to do to be on the same level as like 2K's My Player or the Journey and other single player modes out there?
What they need to make sure that they do is, there's nothing wrong with having, I should say, what's the word? This is dang, it just slipped my mind. Dang, I just had a brain fart on it. No. Oh, okay. No, never mind. There's nothing wrong with having that in Madden, but at the same time, make sure that it's organic. Like what I liked about FIFA and the Be a Pro mode was that it was organic. You weren't forced. 2K is forced.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like
it's fun, but after a while, it kind of gets stale because it's like I don't have control over what I'm doing.
Yeah, like people are mainly playing that my player pretty much at this point to get their guy up so they can run to the park and do all kinds of wild shenanigans.
Right.
That's pretty much it. So where Madden has an opportunity, and that's what I liked about FIFA was that it was its own like you you know you still had to perform no matter what. It was like this is you're dropped into the league and now you got to make your way up. 2K was like you're dropped into the league and the league is basically going to conform to you.
Right.
Then that's not how it should be. It needs to be, you come into Madden and you actually have to make a name for yourself in the league. Now, of course, I don't think Madden would come out and make it that tough out the gate. I think that would be something that would be more of a progressive thing because people want to be able to play. They want to be able to start and everything. That's
Right.
why when they did CFM, they put in the instant starter because you got guys that they want to be able to bring their guy in as soon as they build them and get drafted. They want to be able to just go out and start playing immediately. They don't want to get used in a sparing role and not get that many snaps. Like they want to be the starting QB or they want to be the star running back out the gate and everything. So, uh,
I
you
think if
know,
they had something like where it
mhm,
was more of a reward-based system. So basically, you start off and you know you're going to compete for the starting role, and depending upon your skill, maybe you get the starting role. But then as a starter, then you have to kind of build prestige. You got to earn a bigger contract. And I think one of the things I don't remember which one it was, but I think it was like they had like a My Crib or something on 2K back in the day,
yeah,
and a lot of people like that because as you got more popular and you got bigger, you get endorsement deals and you get a bigger contract, and then you can like pimp out your crib. And I know it's a lot of people thought it was kind of goofy or whatever, but again, so are newspaper articles. They're goofy, they don't really do anything, but if it's something that keeps you engaged and it's a reward for you doing stuff, if they can at least do it in a way that's entertaining, and you can either maybe you can buy different cars, maybe they have some licensed cars that you can buy, or you add things to your crib, or maybe you start an apartment, you can buy a house, or whatever. But just having being able to get bigger contracts and getting endorsement deals and being popular on social media, if there's not something that's attached to it, that's a tangible thing that you can actually do that makes you feel better about it, like it's kind of pointless. And I think some of these modes kind of miss out on that when they're like, okay, well, hey, you got all these things and you're popular, you got all this, and it's like, okay, well, what can I do with it? It's kind of like winning the Super Bowl, right? It's sometimes it's like they think that just the act of winning the Super Bowl is enough, and it's like, no, give me like a post game, like make that the ceremony of winning the Super Bowl feel like something special. Like let me sit back and like watch. Yeah, Madden does an okay job with presenting the trophy and stuff like that. I mean, I think it could be a little bit bigger, but NHL back in NHL '95, I used to love at the end of the season sitting around and watching the awards show and seeing what players got awards and if any of my guys got awards. Stuff like
yeah,
that, you gotta attach some kind of meaning to things so you engage the guy and make them want to keep going and keep doing things. It's interesting. We haven't had a single player mode really, truly in Madden since they've removed Superstar back before Madden 25,
yeah,
and it's going to be interesting to see because even that one didn't have a storyline. And I think soccer, which can be kind of an individual sport at times, baseball for sure, NBA even to a degree. In Madden or in NFL, where it's going to be 22 guys, it's going to be really interesting to see how they're able to make a storyline with a guy that's one of 53 guys on a roster, 22 starters, and kind of see where they take it. But I'm interested to see what they do with it, and I think it's something that's definitely missing. I think we need more options. We have a single player mode in every other game but Madden, so obviously I think that's going to come. I think a skills competition type thing, like they have the home run derby and they have all the little things that you can do in the show to earn coins and stuff like that. And I guess you kind of have it with Mutt, like solo challenges. But if you don't really want to play Mutt, but you want to do like the skills competition or like training camp stuff, I think adding some of that stuff back into Madden, just giving us more stuff to do in Madden and keeping us engaged, when we might get bored with Mutt or franchise or playing online with whatever, I think is definitely a good place to go. We'll go ahead and wrap up here because we're ending ending up on time as far as a 2-part episode, but definitely appreciate you being here. It's always good to talk to you guys because we all share similar ideas. We don't always agree on how we want to get there, but we're all in the same boat trying to make Madden as realistic and as fun and as captivating as possible. Do you have anything going on? Obviously, you guys have your show that is it's 8 p.m. I always forget, 8 p.m. Eastern or Central Time on Thursdays.
8 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursdays. Usually it's on Sim Critics channel. So if you go to YouTube.com, it's Sim F Ball Critic. Just look it up on YouTube and then you'll see his channel. But we're on there doing the Google Hangout from 8. Typically it's from 8 to 10.
Right.
Unless something comes up. But yeah, that's when we typically do it. So we'll definitely be doing it this week, but not next. So because of the holiday and everything. Sure. So but yeah.
And what do you got going on your YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel, I will be basically you come see me. I'll be doing live streams. I got to get back on the ball though. I've been slacking a bit as of late, but typically you'll find me doing live streams of Madden. You'll see me Madden doing some 2K basketball. You'll even see me doing some Gen 3, possibly some PS2 gaming at times. Some first-person shooters every so often, but mainly sports titles is what you're going to get from me. My channel is DTS5381. That's the channel name. So, but it's Smitty. You look me up on, when you see me on YouTube, or if you catch me on Twitter, it's Smitty D1981. That's basically it. So catch me there, and hey, I'm welcoming everybody to come on through. Like, subscribe, comment, definitely view, and I definitely appreciate it and enjoyed everybody. I definitely enjoyed being on here and chatting it up with you.
Well, I definitely appreciate you coming on. It's always a pleasure. We'll probably do it again at some point, probably after February. We start finding out some information. Maybe some stuff gets leaked. Maybe we'll come back on and see where the next version of Madden is headed, and we can debate what we think about what they're doing and where it needs to go from there. But again, I definitely appreciate it. It was a lot of fun, and I look forward to the next time we chat.
Oh, yeah. Likewise.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for listening to another episode of the PX1 Sports Radio podcast. For more, you can find us on Twitter at PX1 Sports or online at px1sports.com. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.